lot of separation too. So I think the movement that is trying to go over the separation and to reunite and to be into the acceptance will open everything. Will go over the recognition of gay or lesbian life. It will open over and it can help to go over the separation that is into the dogmatic Islam and Christianity and so on.
Okay. So
I think it can be an opportunity.
Right. So my next question is, do you like, as a human being, do you like to be labeled as Muslim? Do you like to be labeled as gay? Do you like to be labeled as lesbian?
I answer one yes to those two.
Okay, tell me why yes?
Because for me, Muslim is a good thing because I think it's for peace and to do with Allah.
Plus fort.
To be in the paradise with Him. Whereas for me, being gay is something I don't want to. Whereas I chose Islam, I didn't choose to be gay. Because for me, I would have liked to be gay because it would be simpler and I would have a wife, and I wouldn't have to hide or.
But if you say that you like the label Muslim because you're going to go to heaven because you're Muslim, what about the Jew? What about the Christian? Are you not going to go to heaven?
I don't think so because they don't do salat and all the requirements.
Okay. We have some work to do. And what about the labels of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender? What about those labels?
It depends.
For the second one, I don't know. For being gay, for identifying ourselves as gay or as Muslim or as for the Muslim, we were for most of us, and except especially for the Arab world, MENA region or Mantiqatna, we was born for the majority were born as Muslim, but without choosing being Muslim or not. A lot of people continue and change their religion into Christian or to be agnostic or laïc or something like that. For the identifying ourselves as gays, it's also we were born as gay, we were born as lesbian, bisexual, transgender people, and we didn't choose. The only choice that we did, I think, or can or may our community do is to assuming or accepting being first Muslim because our parents, our grandparents, and all our family in the past were like this, and being gay just because we were born, we find ourselves that we have an orientation, sexual orientation which is different than the others, and now we have to assume it. And the identification is just a notion that it can mean a lot for people and don't for the others, and it depends on the place and the time. I can identify myself as Muslim, and I can identify myself as gay, and I can identify myself as both of them. It depends where I am and with who. Or
okay. So, well, thank you for that. It gives me a little bit of clarity as to where we are in terms of how we identify ourselves. I think it's very, very important that we identify as human beings first. Let's just settle down there. I think it's very, very important that we identify as human beings first, and that we redefine what does it mean to be Muslim, right? if you defined your Islamicity or your being Muslim as exclusive to anybody else, then you have some work to do. Because in the true essence of the meaning of being Muslim is that you believe or you trust in a higher power, that there's a higher power ahead of you or above you or wherever or around you. And that higher power can be defined as anything, because none of us has seen that. So none of us can have exclusive rights to say that Allah is this or the universe is this or the higher power is that. So that's what being Muslim, right, is to know that you are not here for, as an individual, you are attached to something that is higher than you, right? The second thing about Muslim is that you have a perpendicular relationship. One is with that higher power, but that has to resonate well with your fellow human beings, right? So Islam dictates that you live in peace with every other person that is sharing that space with you. Okay? So that in a nutshell is what is being Muslim. So is there anything different from a human being that lives with human values, that respects the fellow human being irrespective of all the labels that they come with? It's not. At the end of it, if you really look at it, it's one and the same thing. So there's no difference in Islam between a Muslim and a Christian and a Jew and a Hindu and a lesbian and bisexual, and the list goes on. So I think if we're going to keep on being stuck in wanting to label ourselves that I am Muslim and I am Hindu or I am lesbian, then we're going to forever have this problem. So as we're sitting in this room having this diversity of people, that is the one thing that we can agree upon. That we come together as people wanting to live in peace. Okay? So what I want to do is just to... Sure.
I don't want to be interrupting, but just checking if there is any for translation, because I saw some people giving me signs that you translate or something. That could slow down. Just
I think there's some people in between that are doing translations. If you need something to be translated, just put up your hand, please, then somebody can translate. So what I want to do with these 62 slides, I want to take it in a particular angle, right? I want to talk about some stuckness, right? How did we get to the point of us being discriminated within Islam? Okay? So if you look at this, for example, this is also a person that identifies himself as a Muslim. But his understanding of Islam is something different from my understanding of Islam or from your understanding of Islam. And he believes that homosexuality is immoral. He says that it's a disease, it's a sin, it's a corruption. No person is born homosexual. And these people are busy with evil, and they don't have proper guidance and education. So whether you're a doctor or lawyer or whatever, he thinks you don't have the proper guidance and education. And this person is Dr. Muzammil Siddiqui from the American Islamic Society. And he was also a person that gives fatwas, right? So this is only one of a million of them out there that is preaching this in your communities, making you feel as if there's something wrong with you. Another way that queer Muslims suffer is they suffer by the interpretation of the Quran, right? Now listen to this, for example. The Quran says that هو الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وجعل منها زوجها ليسكنوا إليها. It is He who has created you from a single cell. Now if you study biology, science will also tell you that every living being was created from a single cell in water. The Quran also said وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ مِّن مَاءٍ. Right? We've created everything from water.
Excusez-moi. Là, on est tous. Moi, je parle que le français. Hein. Et donc, il y a des gens qui parlent comme moi que le français. Donc, on entend des chuchotements à droite et à gauche. Je pense qu'il serait bien qu'ils nous traduisent lui tout seul en français ce qui est dit. Ça éviterait. Il y aura une personne plutôt que.
If one person okay. Will you be that person?
I'm waiting. It's just I know that on your side it will slow down things a bit. But,
it's fine. It will give me time to think in between.
Right. Cool. I will translate idea by idea rather than word by word like we were doing today.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
Just go on something.
So just tell me when it's enough information for you, then I'll stop.
Cool.
Right. So we're going to have one person translating it, right? There's a lot of whispering in between.
Anybody wants Arabic?
Anybody wants Arabic?
Okay, you just do it and then.
Okay, so we have one Arabic there and one. Right. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so this verse is actually saying that we were created from a single cell, and that cell was actually female, right? So the female cell was created first, and then Allah created another cell, which is the male cell, and when that male cell settles with the female cell, it forms a bigger cell, and that cell multiplies, and that's how life has started, right? This is really what we're talking about in that particular verse.
Dans ce verset de Coran qui était avant, on dit que d'abord Dieu a créé une cellule qui était femelle, et de cette cellule a créé une paire qui était masculin, donc le masculin, et puis après ces deux se sont liés quelque part. Donc c'était ça le point, c'est que quelque part il a créé une nafs. Nafs c'est un être.
So when I engage with the Quran and I read this, it makes a lot of sense for me because that's what science also teaches me.
Et donc quand je lis ça dans le Coran, ça rime avec mon connaissance scientifique. Donc le Coran et la science, ça a du sens.
But in South Africa, in a newsletter that was sent out in 2007 by the Jamiatul Ulama, which is a body of religious scholars, they use the same verse, and they say that homosexuality is haram in Islam. Allah Ta'ala says, "It's He who have created you from one being and made for him its spouse, so that they may seek comfort from her." And he says that same verse, he says this verse is explicit that a female was created for the benefit of the male and vice versa. Completely, totally different interpretation.
Donc dans la lettre mensuelle de Jamiatul Ulama de l'Afrique du Sud, ce même verset a été interprété d'une façon totalement différente. Donc ça a été interprété comme s'il y avait un être qui a été créé, et puis sa femme a été créée pour le conforter.